All right, one more Nespresso and I'll be ready. Good morning, my friend. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Boom! Guten Morgen. Yeah. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Ni hao. Ni hao ma. How's the sound? Is it okay? Is it good? Is it okay? Is it bad? How you doing? I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Today is Monday. It's an opportunity to get together here at Forex.Today, the YouTube channel of more than 18,000 foreign exchange traders. Now, what we could do today is go through the calendar, look at our event risk. We can go through the charts, look at where the markets are, see if market conditions are the same or if they have changed over the weekend. Sounds good. Now, is it like radio voice good? In sooth, I know not why I am so sad. Or is it just okay? Yeah, there's one setting that gives me good radio voice, and I'm like, ooh, nice. So good to see you, everybody. So this is my opportunity. Once a day I get to have this opportunity where I thank you for all that you do. You work really hard at this thing we call Forex. I know it's not an easy gig, but let me just say it is worth it if you can stick all the way through. The blood, sweat, and tears for years. You know, this is a fun gig. It's an interesting way to add value to the world and earn an income. Whether you're looking at it as pure foreign exchange, or if you're just looking at it as a way for investing and trading, or a way to save and prepare for retirement. There's a lot of things going on here. You can play Forex like just pure technical analysis, the excitement of making money quick. That can actually be done in Forex, especially when you're using leverage. you can play Forex almost like a bond market where you're the value of your asset might appreciate, but you're also in it for the income earned through interest, so on and so forth. Scalp, spot, swing, trade, carry, all that kind of stuff. It really allows us to do a lot of things. Like if you look at sort of risk on correlation, you can also, in a sense, if the stock market's going up, you might be selling the Japanese yen, and you might be selling the Japanese yen because the stock market is going up. So in that case, it's kind of your equity play. It's your bond play. It's your, and we have access to crypto. It's your crypto play. So it's a very interesting opportunity that we have in front of us, and you can do it for many reasons. Okay. So anyways, it's a pretty cool gig. And as a small business, having no accounts payable, no accounts receivable, no customer service, it's a pretty awesome small business for a person to run. Can you show us how to mark your zones? Okay. Okay. So anyways, thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for clicking the like button. Thank you for leaving comments. Thank you for contributing in the chat and comment section. I'd like to thank Traders Way for being part of our community as well. Yes, they are a broker, but they have earned my loyalty and respect long ago. And they value education. They want you to be a successful trader, not for pure altruistic reasons, maybe. I mean, think about it. They want you to succeed so you're going to be a better trader. And if you're a better trader, you're a better client. You're a better customer. Instead of being a customer for 3 or 4 weeks until you blow up your trade account, maybe you'll be around for years and years and years and years and years because you're growing your trading account. Well, that's a great customer to have. So anyways, tradersway.com, maybe open up a demo, try their ECN. I like the variable spread. That's fine. I use MT4. You might want MT5. You might want C-Trader. But it's your way, a Trader's Way with Trader Wayne. Kevin said, hey, I just reviewed the swing trading group from last week and loved the walkthrough of the relationship between the bond market and the Fed. Oh, my pleasure. Mr. Sangam says, hey, sir, you don't talk about trading journal. No, I wrote a whole book on how to keep a trading journal. The new Market Wizard book is full of trading journals. That's cool. Yeah, well, I wrote a whole book. 1/3 of my book is on how to keep a trade journal properly, because keeping a trade journal is okay, but most people don't do it right, so therefore it's generally irrelevant. So anyways, yeah. All right, so I was just marking this down. This is something that we were looking at the last time we met about a key time of the day, TOD, and that's coming up soon, according to that vertical line. What does it mean? It just means in the past, it seems like volume, because we're looking at volume down here, tends to rise. And right now, right now, it's not very high. Maybe it'll change. Who knows? Okay. Coolio. So what do we know here? USD CAD has slowed down. Okay, I'm looking at this area now. Okay, it is slowing down. This is USD Kitty CAD. So we were selling this. Let me reset this. Okay. You can see we're one standard deviation from the mean, which is to be expected. And ideally somewhere around this 22 and some change, 22, we'll call it just 22. Maybe around 22, we can get it to turn back down. Okay. I'm also looking at sort of price action levels. So one is 23 and the other one is what, 24? So anyways, got to watch this on smaller time frames. Let's zoom in. Okay, and that is not very good for a bear. So you kind of have to wait. And you'll see this is what I'm talking about, like 22. You know, if you saw something like this as a bear, you'd have permission to enter. Okay. Now, bulls have it pretty easy in this scenario, as you can see. You're just doing some price action. They're probably nervous about this, but that's, you know, that's because a bear would want to enter in here, right? And if we're thinking risk on global macroeconomic activity expansion, okay, right, then you are thinking this. Okay. All right, so let's just do a quick around the world. I just want to start with that because that's the last thing we covered. So maybe it'll be the first thing we'll cover. Okay. Dollar index, right? Still rising, as you can see. I want to get rid of this, but it's something that we discussed yesterday. I'm more interested in, you know, something like this. So even though we had it marked up this way, I'm still looking at it sort of horizontally, but that's just what the Wayne do. Okay. So I want to keep an eye on that. Just waiting. Okay. Yen is also strong. That makes sense. Swissy's sort of neutral. Aight. And look, CAD is down. Kiwi is down. Pound is not sort of there. Aussie sort of. So once again, I'm looking at this, and there's not a lot of excitement for me. Okay, so there's a lot of counter moves, which are perfectly fine. Okay, lots of counter moves that are perfectly fine. But if they're counter to my opinion, then I simply have to wait. Okay, that's all. No big deal. So we're looking at gold here. What are the basics that we know? Well, we've covered this multiple times, so we'll do it again just to make sure we're all on the same chart. This is the monthly M3. This is where bears would sell. It's not my opinion. I'm not looking backwards. That's just what that means. That's why we have that gray line there. That's what that is. So that's where bears would sell. Okay, that's for the month of June. Now, for last week, you can see this is the price in which bears would sell. Again, not my opinion, not something I'm going back to explain. That's just what that line means. So apparently, some bears have sold that. Yeah, it would have been a challenging week because bulls were buying down here too. So a bull did what a bull was supposed to do. A bear did what a bear was supposed to do. And as I tell you over and over and over again, as long as you know if you're a bull or a bear and you trade at prices in which bears would be a bear and at prices in which a bull would be a bull, and you're doing one of those things, you shan't lose much money. Okay? That's all. Mr. Kennedy says, do I have a reason to believe the USD will go down? Well, yes, and I've covered that many, many times, but let me put it in a different fashion. I think people are going to go to the beach this summer. I think they're going to go to Walmart and buy a cooler that looks like a Yeti cooler, but instead of being $400, they're going to pay $122. And they're going to buy a bunch of other stuff. And they're going to go to the beach with their family with a bunch of plastic toys, cheap folding chairs, and fluorescent green T-shirts. And when they do that, that crap that they just bought is from another country, maybe China, for example. And as those Americans are going out being patriotic, enjoying the holidays as their God-given right as an American, guess what? They're selling the US dollar. And I'm betting on America by selling the US dollar. Cool. Okay, Mr. Kennedy? All right. So anyway, so that's that. So this is what bears sell. This is what bulls buy. Now, how do we analyze this week? Okay. Well, this is a sell zone. And this was the target. Okay. So that the week is already done. Now, in scenarios like that, very often, remember not always, but pay attention here, very often you get a retracement back to the central. Okay? It doesn't have to. You would never bet the farm on that, but that's what often happens. If you like the idea of a pattern, that often happens because somebody sold this on Friday, woke up on Monday and found out their trade of the week has already hit their extreme target. And they're like, holy crap. And I got an FOMC meeting coming up. Oh, you know what? I'll take my money and run. Boom. And they're out at 1850. That's the idea. Now, a true trend will just continue on anyways. You have to decide the duration of your investment last week. Okay. 1850 seems like a very logical target. But if your trade was here last week and the week before it was here, because this is a sell pivot, not just the big one, the little one. So this is a weekly sell last week, okay? Or 2 weeks ago. This is a weekly sell last week. But check this out, as I was trying to tell you, this whole thing here is a monthly sell. So you may, depending on your fundamental bias, incorporate your weekly sell as a bear with your monthly target. The monthly target, okay, and again, this is not my opinion. This is just technical analysis. If you believe this is the top, then your conservative target is 1763. Okay? Cool. Fine. Good. Great. Fine. Fine. Whatever. For sure. Okay? You better bring it. Oh, I'll bring it. Okay? But the equal and opposite to that is you have now entered the buy zone. Okay? Now, I would like to be a bull on gold. I don't know if it's overpriced. I don't know if central banks are still buying gold. I know they were buying gold. It feels like COVID is over here in Georgia. I don't know about the rest of the United States. Took my dad golfing, and he wouldn't touch the flag stick. And I'm like, pull the flag. Oh, you're not supposed to touch the flag. Why are you not supposed to touch the flag? You might get COVID. I'm like, shut up. Stupid Californian. You think California, they don't touch the flag? But I'm like, is there one documented case where somebody died because they touched a flag pin? golfing and got COVID and died. You're like, you're kidding me. No way. Seriously? Yeah. Well, Krampus died. He touched the flag. He dead now. Anyway, so I know the rest of the world, especially other countries, are nowhere near the end of COVID, right? So those central banks may still be buying gold to offset the flow of cash back to those countries. So anyways, what I'm saying as a bull is this counter trend for the week could just possibly be my long against Morena's short. Chattanooga? Yeah, that's a nice town. What do you think, Charles? Should we get together and do a Forex event? There's a couple of good cigar bars, I believe, in Chattanooga, if I remember correctly. Okay. Alex says they made a cool temple to COVID in India. Yeah, that's the Indian way. Okay. Cool. So that's what I'd like to see. Now I have to thread that needle. Yeah, okay, so Morena, you took the profits at 1850, right? Yeah, which makes total sense to me. Mr. Sangam says, what's my next major goal? Well, there's two different goals. One, I want to teach at Harvard, which is pretty simple. The big one is, if I can pull enough money together, I'd like to win the Nobel Prize. I haven't been able to work on it the last few years, but I have very specific plans for that. All right. So that's what I'm looking for. So there's an in, there's an out. So if I can get enough, so here's what what I want to kind of look for. Something like this might be interesting. Clearly I'm going to be challenged at this price. Clearly I'm going to be challenged at this price. Okay. I mean, I could just buy it at 1850 and see what happens. That's not what the Wayne do, but someone could do it. Mark says he's in my old stomping ground. Oh, San Francisco? Yeah. No, I did not Nobel Prize for economics. No. I hate academia. I don't know what to do here. I guess we could take a look at Biddy. Okay, Bitcoin, I'm just still farting around here. I'm long at 32, 33, long at 33. We're now at 39 on our way to 40. Obviously, 40 being a challenge here, right? Obviously. My target is to take this to 62. So 32 to 62. I want to make $30,000 on Bitcoin. Well, I should rephrase that. I don't want to. That's just what it says. What else am I supposed to do? Okay? So I'm just reading the sheet music, playing Mozart. I don't claim to be Mozart. And I didn't write the music. It's just what it says. Crypto Rage, small goal, easy. Yeah. Well, I want to build a sustainable, environmentally friendly economy from scratch. One that is actually built like a product where I can build small economies all around the world. Right? So I have to build one and prove that it works, but also have a repeatable model so I can go to here, there, and another place and just build a micro economy. One that gives free, equal access to everybody, protects and celebrates local cultures and histories, is environmentally friendly and completely sustainable. Peter says, hey, I should not buy Bitcoin. Well, I can't lose money, so I don't really care. Right? It's one of those things, Pete. I don't have an opinion. This isn't an opinion piece. I was presented with like a quadruple bottom at 33. So it's a trade. Okay? Okay? That's it. It's just a trade. And, you know, beautifully traded, I might say. But other than that, if it breaks through, I'll do better. And if it doesn't break through, then no harm, right? No harm. Okay. So what else is going on? Okay. Let's get rid of this. What this is suggesting now is we may have formed, if you like patterns, something that you would call a double bottom. The reason I would bring this up is it's that, but there's more than that because this is in the way. So you might say, well, Wayne, this is really range bound. And I'm like, okay, I can't argue against that. But if there's a fundamental trend of pushing this north, if you're a believer of going to 3,000 plus, for example, I don't know your reasoning. It doesn't even matter now. If you just have reasoning, then you would say, well, you take this area here and you would consider this a buy zone. Okay. Okay. I'm not looking at the pink lines that I've drawn. I'm just doing separate analysis. And I would say, well, if I were a believer in 3K and above, okay, then I would plan in a way that said, if there's support somewhere near, let's say 2850, is that right? Or 2350? 2350, then I'd like to get long. And then, oh, snap, double bottom at 2350. That's what kind of gets the interest going. And then on a smaller time frame, maybe this plays out somehow. Okay? So if the 2155 crosses, then we're on our way to the 200. And then, but if this pattern goes to there, there's the target. And you start managing things piece by piece. I understand this could go up and drop. That's why as a bull, you want to be in before you get challenged. Okay. Now, where would a bear sell? Easy. They would sell here and they would sell here. Okay. Okay. Okay? So like, let's do it differently. If you're a bear, those are the prices in which you set buy zone, buy bullish trades, or sorry. If you're a bear, those are the prices in which you'd set up bearish trades. Okay? And a buyer really has this as their really kind of only entry. You might say, well, you can buy a dip in here. Well, that's tactical. That's not strategic. The next one would be here, not at a touch, but at a retrace. Meaning you'd have to get like this to be the trade. Okay? So you'd have to mark it up in purple, similar to this. As a bull, this would be your plan A. This would be your plan B. Okay? And then sort of this would be plan A, and this would be plan B. So bears actually have it easier. Okay? So let's just pretend, let me pick one. Let's be a bull. I like being a bull. Okay. So now how do you deal with this? Okay. Okay. That's what you're looking at now. Small time frame. Okay. So many people in a situation like this wait for too much. They wait for too much. If you are already a bull and you have a triple bottom on a 15-minute chart setting up around your 3A2, that's probably enough if you're aggressive enough, okay? Because you got the roll reversal, and it's defining support after the London Open. Like, if it was heading down here, it probably would have done it during London, okay? So if London doesn't make a lower low, it's almost confirming the support. You see? And you know the real psychological challenge here is 25. Whoa. Okay. I think people overcomplicate things through their training, and they're looking for so many rules of engagement, right? And very often people miss the basics of everything, right? You're a bull. Is this support? Has it made a higher high? Versus having so many rules of engagement. They need a 7-piece tactical entry strategy sheet. Versus, dude, are you going to buy it or not? Right? You got the higher high. Are you buying the higher low? It sat here for hours not making a low. Are you going to buy it on the roll reversal? Well, I need steps 6, 7, and 8. Now, you can do the 6, 7, and 8 too, but here's the thing. So now you didn't buy a triple bottom at a market open. Okay, fine. So now you can do like these types of moves. Okay? Okay? Okay. Well, it's simple, Alton, because I think we forget that that's what you're trying to do. And so people get caught in the rules of, of how do I pull the trigger? Is it a 5-8 cross? Is it a Stokes cross? Is it a MACD cross? Is it a higher high? Is it a higher low? Is it a roll reversal? Is it this? Is it that? Is it the other thing and this other thing and this other thing and this other thing? And dude, are you going to buy it or not? What the hell? Like, but how do I know I'm right? You won't know you're right ever. But buying it late is never going to be helpful. Okay? Okay? How do I know I'm going to be right? Because you did so much research over the weekend. Okay? Okay? You did so much research over the weekend. That's why you know you're right. Okay? That's how you know you're right. You've done so much work, you know you're right. And you don't have to triple guess, quadruple guess, because nothing on your chart is going to save you. It's your decision-making process that creates the value. Okay? Not your technical entry. Which moving average crossover did I use? Nobody cares. What are my Stokes settings? Dude, did you buy it at support or not? What's the problem? Okay? Cool. Enough said, right? Enough said. Cool. All right. We did gold, but I don't remember doing oil. Let's go back and do some oil. Nice. All right. Have I been teaching you over the last few weeks to be a bull, or have I been teaching you how to be a bear? Henry, please define problem. Okay. Okay, have I been teaching you to be a bull, or have I been teaching you to be a bear? Okay. Nice. Now, isn't this cool that we talked about that weeks in advance? That day was going to be a key turning point? We set it like way over here. It's wonderful that was the day we broke out. Cool. Luck, but not luck at the same time. I can't buy XRP, Mark. My government won't allow me. Okay. Excuse me. So anyways, we made it through 70. Okay. And look at the price action. Up. Consolidation. Up. What? Consolidation. Up. Consolidation. Cool. And this has been happening here too. Okay. And I think we started talking about this at the end of February, beginning of March, of that kind of behavior. Okay. Cool. So off we go. Brent is obviously going to be tagging along with this. Now, we have additional information on Brent than we do on WTI. Is there because there's something different between Brent and WTI? No, I just have different indicators. Oh, is that right, Henry? I haven't checked in the last day or so, but let me check. The last I looked, there was a retracement on Friday to 20. And the last time I looked, we were at like 1988 or something. But I'll do that next, okay? Okay. So with this additional information, my charts tell me to be careful pretty much where we are now. Okay? How many days will it take the market to digest the Fed meeting decisions? About 6 seconds. Okay, yeah, Henry, I'll check it out. But my general rule theta is the FOMC is on a Wednesday. Okay? And by the Friday close, Friday at 5 p.m. is the first day summer begins. Now, I know the real first day of summer is like, what, June 28th or something, not June 18th. So it's 10 days early. But as far as I'm concerned, that's the minute summer starts. Okay? The Friday after the June FOMC meeting. Okay. Mark says when Brent is going to turn downward, it will not, in my opinion. Okay. This is not a sell zone. Now, let me go through an old story that some of you may not have heard. Some of you have heard, but some of you may not have heard. I sat in a Peet's Coffee, okay, in San Mateo, California, near the Franklin Templeton World Headquarters, in the same parking lot as Whole Foods or Whole Earth or Good Earth or, you know, one of those fancy pants, sissy pants, liberal grocery stores. I need the flaxseed. Do you have flaxseed? Is it organic flaxseed? Is it sustainable organic flaxseed? That kind of place. So anyways, I went to the Peet's Coffee and I grabbed myself a nice coffee. And I was sitting, there's a little table where you can sit in like more of a bench and you kind of look out the window, and it was around the corner. So I got my Peet's Coffee and I was writing on my laptop the chapter on pivot points in my book. And I was trying to figure out, what do I name these so that people don't confuse what they mean? Because people tend to oversimplify. Okay? They tend to oversimplify. And if it doesn't mean up, then it means down. No, A to B doesn't equal B to A. Okay? Okay? So I said, well, I don't want people to confuse what this means. So I'm going to name it something. And after, let's say by the end I was done my quadruple soy latte, I decided to name it the Pivot Profit Zone. And it's true. I invented this. Okay? Probably everybody in the world trades like this now, but I invented it. I had thought about it. That's in my brain. It's in my soul. I sat there for a good hour coming up with names to call this in my book. And the reason I chose to call it that is it doesn't mean sell, does it? And this is a great example of that, where I say, okay, this is where we're going to be challenged. This is a good place to take profit. And Mark asks a good question. oh, okay, so is this a good, I'm going to paraphrase that maybe one way of interpreting what Mark said. Is this a good place to sell? No, 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 whoa, 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 whoa. Slow down there, fella. Okay? Slow down there, fella. Taking profit there is not the same as selling. Okay? And that's why I called it that. Okay? For a bull, buying here and exiting here, in most months and most circumstances, will be the right thing. In some months, I'll expect it to go a little higher. But on average, okay, on average, over months and years, let's say, it doesn't even really matter. Okay, it doesn't even matter. If you bought this at 65 and you got out at 74 and instead it went to 76, are you really going to cry? Okay, I bought it out 65 and I got out at 75. I'm such a loser. Dude, on the long run, as long as you're buying low and taking profit high, and you're consistently applying that, you're going to have very low volatility and consistent returns. Nobody is actually measuring the total effectiveness and efficiency of you capturing the entire whole market, right? What they're looking at is other things. So when you look at all those funny mathematical things under your trading history, the big ones, like a Sharpe ratio, is like, how often do you make money and how much do you have to suffer in the process of making money? And if you're like, well, I buy here and I exit here and there's no major trouble in between, and I do that over and 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 over again, never really running in. Sometimes you maximize every possible penny, and other times you just get the vast majority of every penny. But nobody sees, you versus the market per se. It's you versus a benchmark, or you versus competitors. But good returns, okay? So if you have good returns over low volatility, you will always attract investors. Okay? You understand? You don't have to be great. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be amazing. One of the keys to your success is actually the low volatility, not the high returns. Can you teach us how to mark those green and red zones? Sure. Okay. So many people start with a standard template and you go insert indicators, custom, okay, and you add the pivot points. Now, I find that to be too many lines, so instead, I do this, insert indicators, custom, and I'll say biased pivot points, which are my pivot points. Bullish mode, I'm okay with. Daily, now let's set it monthly. Okay? And that will give me my buy zone for the month and my exit zone, my take profit for the month. You ready? Cool. Okay, check this out. Last month, this was an opportunity to buy Brent crude. Okay, isn't that nice? Thank you, pivot points. So I got rid of all the sell zones because I'm a bull. Why do I need sell zones? I don't need sell zones. Too complicated, too ugly, too much going on. So what is the current target for the, not target, let's put it this way. What is the projected high price? What is the projected top for the month of June. Well, how would I know that, Wayne? Well, you can do technical analysis. So my technical analysis tells me the highest projected top for the month of June is $73.82. Well, we're at $73.31. So we're about 50 cents away from the top. So I don't know how many lemons you got to squeeze before you drink the lemonade. Okay. But you probably have enough. But you say it might go higher. Well, what does that have to do with anything? You think of that logic. Well, it might go higher. What does that have to do with anything? You either have consistent results or you don't have consistent results, right? So you can say, well, if it goes higher, okay, well, then you're not using if you're going to ignore that, then adjust your tool. If you're going to ignore the monthly target, then use some other tool that properly, like whatever tool you use it or don't use it. Okay. But don't override things unless you really know what you're doing. So anyways, here's a front run from a while ago. Here's the exit. Here's the re-entry. There's the exit. Okay. Here's the front run. That says 74.50. Okay. So we went from 73.85 to 74.50. Okay. And you're out of positions, right? So you got to just ride this 4 hour 21. Okay. So you might get there. Remember, at 74, you're already should be assuming massive resistance. So here's how I think. You say, well, on a monthly basis, it's supposed to stop at 74. But on a weekly basis, 74.50. First of all, I ask myself, how much do I need the 50 cents? Okay. Okay. If I got out at if I got out at 74, can I still feel like a man? Am I still man enough? If you're a real man, you would have made it to 74.50. Okay. So anyways, dude, who cares? 74, 74.50. 74 has 2 levels of resistance. Just get on 74. Who cares? Okay. Right? Yeah. If you're a real man, you'd hold it to 100. Yeah. That's right. So anyways, it's just funny. Harvard would make you define, well, what is a real man? Okay. Whatever. Just do what you got to do. Make the money. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just make your money. Okay. I think very often people go for more because they're focused on making as much money as possible. And it sounds logical. When you are ready to trade other people's money, you will have to instead think of not as much money as possible, because returns are a function of risk. And you forget that institutional investors and high net worth individuals, they don't like risk. Poor people will accept risk because they ain't got no money. Well, if you have money, you don't want to accept risk. You have to understand there's a relationship. Okay? Okay? So if you have money, okay, you don't like risk. Right? Others will accept risk because they don't have any money. Okay? And it's really funny. And it's not just Forex and trading, but you'd be surprised how many wealth managers there are in the world that started out knowing nothing about money. Nothing. But they became wealth managers and started advising people on how to invest their money. I'm like, but they're poor. They don't have any money. They don't know any money. So, but that's the standard thing, right? So if you're going to attract a high value, high net worth investor into your Forex account, right? If you're going to manage their money, you have to look at, okay, you need to have a return, but then you also have to focus on how do you lower your volatility? Okay? Because it's your money over the vol, right? Another way of looking at it is, and this gets confusing obviously, but your percentage return over your percentage of volatility. Okay. And volatility is bad. Okay. So you have to look at it as risk adjusted performance. So, okay. So just, I don't know. Keep that in mind. Got a question on peso. Did peso freeze out? This is what it was the last time I looked at it, but yeah, maybe it got froze out, huh? Yeah, guess so. Perhaps Trader's Way, one of their liquidity providers dropped it or something. I don't know. I'll have to ask them. Yeah, that's how I remember it. Anyways. Well, good thing I didn't sell it then, huh? Interesting. It's all about the game. Well, one of the things I want to do with you guys, even if you're not ready, if you think you want to be ready one day, I want to do a capital raising workshop with you guys, otherwise known as like a mastermind group. And it's amazing how messaging is important in the capital raising process. And very often, so like I used to coach high-tech startup entrepreneurs and CEOs and management teams on how to raise venture capital. I brought in speech coaches and all that kind of stuff so that they can get on stage and pitch their high-tech startup to venture capitalists. In fact, I've helped people raise millions of dollars for their high-tech startups. We used to do pitch nights and stuff like that. So I remember one time I must have had 200 venture capitalists in the room. No amateurs, no quote unquote angel investors, no wannabes, no onlookers, 200 institutional investors. And we had about 10 startups get up and pitch. Okay? So I want to do something like that for you guys. How do you do that for a venture, not for a venture fund, but for an Forex fund? And you'd be surprised how important your messaging is. If you get up on stage and say, I want to get rich, 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 you're going to, you're not going to communicate effectively with your potential audience. Okay? And in fact, for many, you'd be repulsive. Because you're going to sound like, I'm going to gamble with your money so I can get rich. I'm going to gamble with your money so that I can get rich. I'm going to gamble with your money so that I can get rich. Well, that's not what wealthy people want to hear. You're going to gamble with their money so you can get rich. No, they're not interested in that. Get your own money. Okay? So anyways, we'll work on that. Okay, let's get rid of that. Wayne, if the Fed did not do any decision for the taper, they're not going to taper theta. Okay? They're right. So they're going to hint. It's called transparency. Well, yeah, Kennedy, there's a big difference where you can get on stage and talk about your unique value proposition, right? And that if they want to access that unique value proposition that you have, they will need to invest with you. That you do something wonderful and unique, right? And most of it is going to be they believe in you. That's going to be most of it. They believe in you. Because I don't know, it just makes sense to people. Right? So anyways, you got to know how to walk through the country club. How about that? Okay. You got to know how to walk through the culture. All right, so let's go back to Piggy. Piggy. Okay. This had an interesting open. Okay. Yeah, AR. Yeah, I did that earlier. I bought it last week at 33. I got my stop jammed going for 63 or 62, I think. Okay. So anyways, we have this marked up. We talked about it a lot on Friday. Okay. There's a conservative target, and then there's the aggressive, right? Or not even target, resistance, I guess you'd say. Okay. Did anybody pick it up down in the zone that we created last week? Anyone pick it up at 41? Theta did? Right on. Yeah. Good. Good job. Well done. Bears, you got to wait for it to approach 42. Bulls are in at 41. And you just wait. Somebody's going to win this battle. We don't know who, unless you've done some sort of analysis and you say this is up or you say this is down. If you get one of those two correct, you'll probably do all right. If you get both of them correct, you'll do quite well. Okay? So, good luck. Remember, it's just fundamental analysis. It's just your job. It's what you do. It's what you do best. Okay, we're in our sell zone. If you're a bear, notice on the 4-hour chart, it is bullish. Okay. Based on last week, this was a bullish entry with a bullish target. One man's target is another lady's sell zone. So, this is what bears are planning out. And they got to battle these bulls here. Okay, a bull's going to buy a dip, and try to take it north. Okay, you see what I mean? What do you think? Well, I'm watching oil go up, so I'd love to see kitty cat strengthen. Stupid US dollar strong as we wait for the Fed meeting. Will oil be? Lovely, with your smile so worn and your teeth so green. All right. Let us see now. Let us see. Let's get. No, I'm going to put the medium on. All right. RBA meeting minutes. Lovely. Awesome. Awesome. That's exciting, right? RBA meeting minutes. Lovely. That's a good one. What a great opportunity to download something to read. Have you guys tried it yet? You've downloaded central banking reports and hung out at the swimming pool? People are reading Vanity Fair and you're reading central bank policies? Right? Or even better, golf magazines. Tell us your strategy for the Masters this year. Well, I plan on hitting it long and not slicing it. I'm going to avoid all the sand traps, and I'm going to try to one putt. Yeah, that's some good read right there. At the swimming pool, reading magazines about golf. Yeah, good idea. Cool. All right, cool. So on the Tuesday, okay, going to get some pig news. That's great. Cool. Remember, earnings will lead to inflation. So higher earnings is not a bad thing, but it will lead to inflation, which may or may not be a bad thing. We'll see. PPI, yep. Yep, PPI. That's inflation on the producer sides. So it helps you try to predict CPI. Retail sales, huge usually. Okay. Now, I think probably people are going to use retail sales as a way to predict what the Fed's going to do, but the Fed is already meeting on Tuesday and they're not watching. Okay. They're not watching retail sales, but I think the market's going to be extra sensitive. If it's really, really good, oh my God, the Fed's going to do this. And if it's really bad, or, oh, the Fed's going to do that. And if it comes out normal, oh, everyone's going to disagree what the Fed's going to do. And you got to be careful. That's probably a fantastic opportunity to lose money. Instead, you're going to want to play that, of course, but that's, I think, going to be more volatility than it is trend confirmation. But I think what you want to do is look at Japanese exports and say, how's that going? How are they doing? Are people buying stuff from Japan? Is Japan selling stuff? How's it working? It's another canary in the coal mine for global macroeconomic activity. And that's what we really care about. See, we don't really care about retail sales. What we care about is the Fed policy. In fact, the change in Fed policy. So retail sales could be really good, really bad. It could come out as expected, and people are just not going to know what to make of it because they think, I don't know, the Fed is sitting around like at their meeting on Tuesday, and they're like, everyone, shh, retail sales are coming out, and they're making decisions on the fly. Oh my God, well, that will change everything. Dude, it does. They're not even watching. They're at their meeting. So anyways, don't get caught up in that stink. Okay, it'll be important and tradable, but just don't say, oh, it means something. Like The Life of Brian. You got to watch that movie, The Life of Brian, where his sandal falls off and the people are chasing him. It's a sign. It's not a sign, dude. Nobody's watching. All right, cool. Moving over to the Wednesday. I don't know, what do you want to do? Okay, pig CPI. Okay, that's good, especially on top of the earnings. So now you got earnings and CPI. That's great. Well, we're trying to figure out what we're going to do the rest of the year with the Great British Pig. So, yeah, okay, good. Another good tradable opportunity. Another thing to pay attention to. Things could be better. It could be overshadowed, right? Like, I think pound is going to be really influenced by how open the economy is versus the levels of inflation. Okay? Kitty CAD, CPI coming out. Yeah. Okay, great. The problem is none of that will matter, right? Yeah, okay. Trade CAD. And if you believe in CAD, start trading CAD now. But really, FOMC. Okay, this is the big time. This is the big time on Wednesday. Okay. Kiwi GDP. Aussie jobs. Great. This is a huge trading day. Okay, so you got Canada, United States, New Zealand, Australia, all huge on Wednesday, New York time. If you're in Asia, it's going to be more like, Wednesday for US and then Thursday for the other stuff. Okay, but this is going to be huge. Huge. Now, I've commented a lot about this meeting, so I don't need to go into it with much detail. They're not going to announce a change in policy. They're going to hint that they're thinking about tapering, which is their way of saying they're going to start the taper either October or December. I'm leaning towards, I don't know, one of them, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I want to remind you that they already told us this information last year. And the market's debating. I don't know why they're debating. I guess they're master debaters. But the market's debating when. Well, they told us last year when. And so if you reverse engineer it, you should be able to figure out when they're going to raise interest rates. Now, I've already talked about all of this in great detail in the swing trading group. And if you like that type of information, maybe you should join the swing trading group. Cool. Now, Thursday, Swiss National Bank decision. All right, cool. Another press conference, another report to download. Cool, man. We're so lucky. We're so blessed to have so many reports to download. Okay? And I'm telling you, when you're reading these central bank reports at the pool, beautiful people are going to take notice of you. They're going to say, wow. Friday, Bank of Japan. Nice. Okay. Press conference, something to pay attention to. And retail sales again. So Great British Pig is likely to move quite a bit. Sunday, okay, interest rate decision in China. Another great opportunity. So you're going to have, stuff to download from almost every central bank on the planet this week. Okay? Okay? But don't worry about it. If you don't want to improve your trading, don't do any of the work. You'll be fine. You could just skip all this and continue not improving. Wow, that was kind of a bitch slap. Yeah. Cool. So anyways, lots to do here. I'm in big on gold and it's in a downtrend. Wow. Probably should have used a stop, huh? They have those things. I find it amazing still, and I never understood the logic, so I must be the weirdo. I've never understood the logic of people investing money when they don't know what they're doing. So when I first started, I said to myself, I don't know what I'm doing. So I traded on a demo account for 2 years. I worked hard for my money. I had a really good job. It took a lot of time, but I was really good at it, and I enjoyed most of it. So I said, well, gee whiz, I can't risk my real money, right? I got retirement accounts to pay for, right? I'm getting married soon, that kind of stuff, right? So I why would I waste my money? Like, I just never understood it. So after 2 years of trading, I was doing quite well. So I decided to invest real money. Right? So maybe that's what it is, Aaron. Maybe people come across a guru and the guru convinces them they can get rich quick and you should put real money in. You're like, I guess, well, this guy's telling me I can get rich quick and that sounds really good. I guess I should put real money in. But when I started, there was nothing, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I got to figure this out, which means, well, I got to test and measure, test and measure, test and measure. So it was years before I decided to put real money in. And I remember, I think my first account was at FXCM, and they didn't accept credit cards, and the minimum wire transfer was $5,000. And I only bring that up now because I think at Trader's Way you can get an account with $10. It was, so you can see how the market has changed over the years. The average retail trader, was putting in more than 5K. Now the average is putting in probably less than 500, right? So it's a much different market. I don't know how. So like I don't know. I guess I just don't know. It's amazing. Like, I've seen someone. They sent me their trading account to review what they were doing, and they had something like they had tens of millions of dollars at FXCM in London. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really? You're using FXCM? You have $50 million in your FXCM account, right? It was just, it's interesting, right? So I guess I just don't know anything. Like, I don't know why you'd put $500 in an account, and I don't know why you'd put 50 million into like, why aren't you using Goldman Sachs? Why aren't you using, JP Morgan, institutional? Like, it's just interesting. I don't know why people decide. And ultimately, I talked to the guy with the 50 million, and I think it was even more than 50 million. But I remember to him it wasn't a lot of money. So he's like, well, it was just 50 million. Why should I have an institutional account? And I'm like, maybe you should. It's just kind of interesting, right? So to one person, $500 is a lot of money, and to someone else, 50 million's just play money. And he was terrible at trading. Terrible. I remember it was a downtrend I was looking at, but this is an uptrend. But I remember like he would sell here and buy here and sell here and buy here. I'm like, oh my God, you're horrible. You're losing so much money. And he's like, well, it's not a big deal. What age did I start trading? I don't know, 30, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, when I turned 20, maybe 21, I can't remember. I managed 3,000 people, and I sat on the board of directors with George Soros and the vice president of General Electric, vice president of Arthur Andersen, a representative from the United Nations. And when I finished my work in the nonprofit sector, I was living in the Silicon Valley, so I said, well, I guess I'll be a high-tech entrepreneur. So I became a high-tech entrepreneur. That's what I did. And I was in the 1999 Inc. magazine Hot Startups issue, right? Inc. magazine. I wonder if it's around 1999 Hot Startups. No, probably not. In the archives? No. Maybe. Maybe they have that archives. Cool, man. I think it was 1999. There it is. I'm in this one. July. I'm in this one. So that's what I was doing by 1999. I was already reasonably happily. Oh, where is it? That's their issue? What happened to it? What kind of archive is that? There's the archive. Oh, let me reboot. Refresh. How funny. Oh, too bad. Too bad. That's the cover, though. That's the cover. I'm in this issue. I remember I was in my favorite coffee shop, and I grabbed the magazine off the shelf, sat down and read about myself, and I liked it. Yeah, I can't open it. Sorry, that's their archive. I guess they got a thumbnail. Right on, Danny. That's really good. By the way, Dan, in this week's Barron's magazine, there's an article on young people, sort of high school, early college age, that are becoming professional investors. You might want to read that just to see how the journey of other young people, right? Darko says, Wayne, it's almost through all the videos on FX Bootcamp. Probably take one or more week to go through everyone. Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Interesting that that's not around though, huh? July. Why would they have an archive and then there's nothing? Just too far ago, huh? Well, too bad. I'd like to. Is there a way to open it up? No, that's open link, open image. Yeah, it says right there, Wayne McDonald naked. Oh, yeah. Anyways. So there's the journey before Forex. So when did I get into Forex? Quite a bit, many years after that. Yeah, Darko, what you should do is trade for a year or two and develop skills. Get really, really good at what you're doing. Very consistent, low volatility, consistent returns. The consistency is important. And meanwhile, save money so that when you're ready, you can bankroll yourself and you're not underfinanced. My comment of when people don't know what they're doing, they're like, whoever made the comment, like, I'm losing a whole bunch of money in gold. Like, what do you mean you're losing a bunch of money in gold? And clearly you don't know what you're doing, right? Well, like, why would you be investing in gold if you don't even know how to use a stop loss and you don't know technical analysis? Like, I don't understand. Like, why would you do it? So maybe it was a bad messaging from a bad guru or something, but I don't understand the logic of, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have any skills, but I want to invest a lot of money. I don't get it. Okay. So what I recommend, and right, in this case, spend at least a couple of years getting really, really, really good, going through the process of going from bad, right, to terrible, to ugly, to bad, to half decent, to okay, to pretty good, to awesome. Go through that whole process. Meanwhile, instead of losing money trading, making dumb mistakes that making dumb mistakes that have been fixed 100 years ago, but right, instead of doing all of that, save your money and get a second job and sell all the crap in your garage and right, scale back to only 3 TVs in your house and sell everything else. Okay? And after 2 years, you'll have this wonderful nest egg of risk capital, and you'll have 2 years of experience. And now you're making decisions on solid technical analysis and wonderful fundamental research. You understand? And now you decide to become a market participant. But once again, like, think of the logic. Go back to the messaging I told you before. A poor person will accept risk because they don't have any money. And someone with a lot of money, they don't want the risk. So I want you to act like you have a lot of money, even if you don't. So most likely the person that's losing a lot in gold, well, they took that risk. It was a shot in the dark. It was a Hail Mary. They don't know what they're doing, but they don't have any money anyways. Right? So they're like, well, maybe I'll make money trading gold, and they'll take all that risk. Well, pure risk, especially with no analysis and no skill and no capability, well, it's foolish. But that's what I mean. Like, you got to get money somehow, right? Like, okay, well, if you looked at it as an investment, you might spend 2 or 3 years even just watching free videos and sitting on YouTube and writing things down and reading free books and going to the library and taking a free class on the internet on economics. You could do a lot of really positive things with no money over the next 2 years. Meanwhile, have a weekend job, have an evening job, save some money, do what you can, so that 2 years from now, you got a little bankroll and you actually have skills. But see, that's an investment. And to make that kind of investment of 2 years of your life and 2 years of seriously hard work and focus, Well, now that will teach you to think like a wealthy person, because now you've spent 2 years saving whatever amount of money, and now you're like, I'm going to enter the market and I have the skills and the knowledge, but I can't lose this money. It was so hard fought and hard earned. I had to save for years. I had to work nights and weekends. This is a treasure I cannot lose. So I need a decent return with low risk. And all of a sudden, you're now thinking like it's $1 million or $100 million or $1 billion. You're thinking like a wealthy person. Now you got the money and you're not willing to accept the risk. And now you're going to be cautious. Now you're going to be patient. You're going to focus on your research and you're going to focus on making good decisions. And when the decisions don't work out, you're not going to lose a bunch of money on gold because you're like, dude, you get stopped out. How do you lose a bunch of money in gold? How do you lose a bunch of money in gold? You got stopped out, right? Well, you might have lost a little bit of money, but you have a trade plan, use technical analysis. You lost a little bit of money in gold. More often than not, if things go bad, you get knocked out at break even on gold. You're like, oh man, I took the shot and it went nowhere. Oh, woe is me. Right? Very often you're like, oh, I got knocked out of gold for a small profit. I was hoping it would reach my profit, my limit order, but it never reached it, and some weird volatility, and the market collapsed on me, and I only made a little bit of profit in gold. That's how it should be. You're disappointed because your profit wasn't as great as your analysis had suggested. There's a big difference. Okay, you see the difference? And that's why the focus on saving, the focus on learning, the focus on developing skill first will completely change your attitude towards money. And the degenerate gambling side of you will go away. Okay? Okay? And I'm telling you, it's a dangerous side to say, well, I don't have much money, so I'm going to see if I can double my trading account quickly or triple my trading account quickly. Well, okay, you're going to have to take a lot of risk for that, and you just screwed up. Even if it works for you and you do make a lot of money, you will self-sabotage and it will not last. This is why people with money don't want the volatility. They don't want the risk. Okay? Because money is easy come, easy go if you're a degenerate gambler. Okay? The best you can hope for is dying in your sleep. That's right. That's advice from the gambler, right? You remember that part? You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away. Know, right? Know when to walk away, know when to run. Well, he tells the old gambler, he says, the best you can hope for is dying in your sleep. Ha. Ha. Okay. Yeah, Kevin, it's probably just one of the liquidity providers, right? One of the LPs is down or not no coverage on the desk anymore. Okay. Cool. Anyways. Gold is counter trending. Yeah, well, that's what we would have expected. Okay, I'm looking at this, and this is Nowheresville. I got to reaffirm what's going on here. Okay, I got to reaffirm, and well, actually, I can't even reaffirm. So we're going to have to pay attention to the meetings coming up. Okay, we have a very slight bullish slope. Okay, and we have wide standard deviations. This is still a cautious tail. What this says to me is there's very little bullishness on Aussie. Okay. And dollar's been weak and then strong and then maybe weak again or strong again. You don't rightly know. Every hand's a winner, and every hand's a loser. Something that you hope for is dying in your sleep, right? Can you imagine every trade's a winner and every trade's a loser? Something like that. Yeah. Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep, because every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser. And the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. Yeah. They're talking about trading. Yep. Okay. Yeah. And if you've ever been in a big losing trade, you know very quickly that you never want to do that again. Right? The Muslims say that you are blessed to die in your sleep. You've lived a great life. Yeah. Well, in the time of Muhammad, I think of, Mecca and other cities in that region. And if you read, like some of the Hadith and stuff, there's descriptions of what life was like. Life was tough and brutal, right? That period of time, you imagine just being in that region, not just Saudi Arabia, but the whole region. Can you imagine like sailing into a port town? What life was like? Holy smokes, life was tough, right? The human existence was pretty brutal all over the world, right? At that period of time. Can you imagine like a Yemeni port? Holy smokes. Yeah. So, yeah. Right. So anyways, Muhammad had a lot of advice for people on how to live a much better life. Means struggle. Yeah. Well, so I try to think of what life would have been like. And there was, usury, for example, like if you borrowed money, there was like loan sharks. So that was bad. And there was, drugs and alcohol and prostitution. Again, not just the Middle East, everywhere in the world, right? So for someone to come along and say, there's a better way to live, there's a healthier way of living, I also think about, so like I took my children to a market and they had, you could get food prepared, that there was kosher food over here and halal food over there. And I was explaining, these are rules, they're strict rules in either religion for how to live in this case. But I said, well, also put yourself in the time when these rules were created and, and at least, and I hope I don't insult anybody with this, but my point of view is I think about at the time these rules were created, in the Middle East, for example, there was no refrigeration, right? So you can imagine food had to be prepared in certain ways, otherwise people could get sick or die, right? And so if you prepare it in a certain way to cast away the devil, okay, that's great. But it also prevented you from getting worms, and some people are like, just don't eat the pork. You'll be fine. All right, good. life was pretty tough. Even food and water could kill you. Now we take it for granted. You can just go in the store and anytime you want, just buy some food. Life was tough. Life was tough. So these rules were important to humanity and to society. Iran says, hey, learning how to track price has been a game changer. Yeah. What do you mean specifically about tracking price? Help people out. While Aaron's doing that, this is, for this period, this is the lowest price I want to accept for purchase, for investment. Now, sometimes low price you would think is better, but low price in certain market conditions. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, it's more like, Mohammed, I believe it's the other way. You decide the price and then the time. Okay. So like, if you've already made a decision to buy at this price, 21, and we talked about it last week, so there's nothing new about it. You're either following the plan or you don't have a plan. It's pretty simple. I think people complicate things. You either had a plan and you're executing your plan, or you just don't have a plan and you're frustrated. Okay? But anyways, if your plan was to buy around this 21 period, right, this price that we outlined last week, then you're deciding, do I buy this? 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 Like the decisions of the price, it's like, at what time do you pull the trigger? This would have been a good time. Let me do this, right? This would have been the most obvious time. Okay? And now you might have this trap this way, and maybe this is an obvious time. See, I don't know. Is it going to work out? I don't know if it's going to work out, but gee whiz, did you decide to buy it? What the heck is the plan? If that doesn't work out, maybe you'll get an opportunity back here. and on a higher time frame, it ends up behaving like a double bottom. Is that going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. Why do you think I know what's going to happen? It's all about managing your risk now. Okay? But at some point, have you made a decision? See, you could have bought it down here. That's fine. You could have bought it here. That's fine. You could buy it here. That's fine. Okay? Chances NYC halal is the best. Where do you get, what do you mean at night? Like the place, I'm thinking Midtown, right? In Midtown? Where do you get your halal? Trying to think. Everything's changed. All the names have changed, right? I remember I met with like a big shot of somebody at, I think it was Payne Weber. And I got out of the elevator, and it's amazing because you go into a building and they're just skyscrapers. And I get out of the elevator, and it was literally mahogany everywhere, leather chairs, big tough, leather chairs, and pictures of, ships lost out in stormy weather at sea. And like, wow, this place is awesome. Right, Mohammed. But in New York City, halal is a verb almost. Like you go to get this type of food, and very often it's from carts or from trucks, and it's at night, and it's a different part of town, right? And it's like you go for halal. I know that's not what it means, but in New York City, that's what it means. And it's sort of, I guess, I don't know if people say this, let's go for kosher. But, obviously there's fantastic kosher food in New York City. But halal seems to be like what you're doing at 2:00 in the morning. You're at a halal truck getting some fantastic food. Yeah. Yeah, Mohammed. Yeah, if you know Anthony Bourdain, he's done a lot of fun things and weird things and eaten lots of fun food and weird food. But he said the worst thing he's ever seen is like a slaughter. And it was just like poorly done type slaughter. He was in some country and, they were just like, it, let's just say it wasn't done in properly. It was low skilled people carrying out what they thought was right, but they were not very good at it. And he said it was the most horrible thing ever. Yeah. Yeah, well, the adrenaline does. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, it's one of these things where you make a decision. You're a buyer. You're not a buyer. You're a seller. You're not a seller. Right now, this is set up over here only as a buy, but there's sort of like, I guess I would highlight it this way. There's two sort of areas, well, maybe three, I guess, if you're going to play the top. Depends on how nitpicky you are. Okay. But there's two thoughts here as a bull. I only have this set up as bull. So you're playing the double bottom, which we set up last week, by the way. Okay. And now there's some sort of up, down. Okay. Now, what form of that you'd trade is often irrelevant unless you're stuck on a 5-minute chart and you live and die on a 5-minute chart. Then you're not really doing it correctly, in my opinion. So instead, if you were doing this of any process of you making that decision is fine by me. Okay? And your lot size is small enough that you have more than enough space for your stop. Okay? Okay? And so a scalper even might buy a dip here and drive it up to 120, 150 and pull out 25 pips. Not till you put it below support. Okay? You put it below support. Marina, yeah, good point. Well, yeah. But you understand food. It's not like I'm a meat eater, but I love vegetables. It's like, oh, stop talking about vegetables, right? No. But what we're talking about is just simply food. Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. I was vegan for about a year, right? But, I stopped dating her. Yeah. Yeah, young men are silly. Pretty girls. All right, so let's take a look at some yen-yens. Okay, that's hopeful, huh? It's hopeful. That's good. Makes me feel good. That makes me feel good. Kicks off, right? Okay, what are you going to do next? This makes me feel good. Okay, is this a clear indication of risk on? Maybe, not yet, but okay. How about this? Okay, good. Hopeful, right? Okay, and hopeful. Notice all of these we did in the swing trading group, and we analyzed which ones looked most opportunistic and which ones looked least. And I believe the Kiwi was least. Okay. But this is very nice. Remember, I only have these charts set up to buy, and the green zones are the buy zones. Okay. So this is a buy zone, and maybe it's turning north. This is a buy zone. This maybe, right? This we just basically said not yet, not first. Okay. This is the buy zone, and this is the buy zone. Okay. What do you think? Are they helpful? Okay. Are they helpful? If you're saying yes, or if you're typing yes, I hope you're actually using the tools. I hope you're doing the work. I hope you just do some basic analysis. Okay? And I hope it works out well for you. Okay? Again, it's Monday right now, and we went through this on Thursday. Okay? Very nice. In fact, we went through these setups not just Thursday, the 10th, but also Thursday the 3rd. You understand that? On Thursday, June 3rd, our concern, like looking at this chart here, our concern was that we were here. And that the real entry, that's why we were concerned, was 100 pips below us. And we were like, oh man, we're bulls, but it's too high. It's too expensive. Okay? And then last Thursday we were here and I'm like, guess what? You got what you wanted. What is it you wanted? What is it that you want? I want that. Right? Well, good. Now you got it. Right? Now you got it. Now it's working out. Maybe. Now, these are starting to move. Maybe. I wouldn't call these trending, but they're doing what you want to do at the exact right price you'd want it to do. The thing is, the dollar may not be doing this because we're stalled out because of FOMC. So cool. Maybe these yens are great, but remember, we talked about this maybe a month ago that I'm expecting a seasonal rotation where I'm hoping, doesn't mean I'll get it, but I'm hoping to see more US dollar than Japanese yen weakness. I still think they will both be weak. I want all the yens to go up. But I was hoping like euro dollar would go up faster than euro yen. But at the end of the day, I don't really care. Because both are a macro play. Okay? And this idea of analysis where we're looking for a trend that will last, let's say, 6 months. And this idea that you don't get what you want for 8 days in a row, so you give up on your 6-month plan. I kind of picked at that a little bit and said, really? So last week we went through, I think, 5 or 6 central banks, and we reaffirmed what we were doing in the live trading group to say, isn't it silly that you do all this analysis and you'll throw it out the window and start chasing because you didn't get what you want over the last 8 days? Right? You told me you had a 6-month strategy, but 8 days later, you're going to throw that out the window and go 180? Really? Maybe it's not a strategy. So anyways. So I hope you get everything that you want and more. And on top of that, I hope you actually trade what you wanted. Wayne, do I use annual pivot points? I don't. Nothing wrong with them, but I don't. So peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above average. Thank you for being part of the community. Thank you for clicking the thumbs up button. Thank you for leaving a comment on the recording. Thank you for telling YouTube this is quality content. Thank you for being part of tradersway.com. And thank you for being you, because you is good people. Cheers.